What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here at Highland Brewery. We're going to play the front nine. It's going to be kind of a mixture between shorts and longs, but we have a new putter to try out. This is through Discraft, but also the Climo line. This is the Champ, his putt and approach disc, and this is in the Victory line plastic. We've already seen the Major line plastic, which is kind of a Star or ESP type. This has that pearly Z look to it, but it almost feels like a gummy Champ, so it feels really good. It looks really cool. The numbers of 2300, but with a kind of a bluntish edge and a bead. We'll see how it handles out here in the wind. Starting off, we are going to throw the first hole from the short pad down to the short basket, 216 feet. Let's hope I don't sail it. Yeah, I softened it. I gave it a little bit of nose up so that it would have some stability, but it's a pretty straight putter, and I think if I were to throw it pretty hard, it would be very, very straight. Got a weird straddle hyzer putt. I will take that all day. That was, once I started putting with the Rhinos, normal putters just kind of felt weird to me. That one didn't feel bad. That one felt pretty good. We are going to wait until a little bit later to truly power up on it, so we're going to stay on the short pad for now. 230 feet. Let's see how straight the 0-0 holds when you start to power it up a little bit more. Oh, yikes. That came out so early. We are in the middle of one's fairway. I'm going to try, I think, just a little soft forehand. Almost to the top of the hill. Almost over the lip. That's going to be a weird putt. All right, even longer and more uphill and not downhill, but it's still a hyzer putt. Oh boy. Okay. That'll be a bogey. Not really what we want to hear. But bogey after birdie means at least we're even par. Alright, super important to not early release on this hole, especially since we're throwing from the long pad. It's 245 feet, so the turnover should work for this type of a putter. But with the wind coming off the direction it is, I have to be super precise. It's not overstable, so I can't torque on it. I can't just yank it over. But I have to put it on an angle because it's not flippy. Wow, that actually stabled out. Maybe it's a 0-0 in putter plastic. In this putter line, in this plastic, it kind of feels more beef. It kind of, and I'll show you the profile here in just a second, it kind of forces me to almost Luna putt it, which is not my normal release. So the profile of this has, well, more of the AVR style rounded off shoulder, which putting with an approach disc with a very flat top, this forces me to kind of come under it a little bit more, which sometimes forces it to go a little nose down. So then I have to almost throw it on hyzer and higher, and then it just a little weird for me. We've now made it to 1 over par with the Champ. Was not what I was expecting, because it just, well, the throwing hasn't really been the problem except for hole 2. The throwing has been just fine. It's been the putting. So, I mean, the score is what the score is, but when you're trying to putt with something that is just completely opposite of what you normally putt with, you're going to make mistakes. Wow. Helpful little backspin, but I will say that has more stability than I would have anticipated from the shape of the disc. Now, that bead probably does a little bit to help with that, and that beveled edge probably does a little bit to help with that, but 0-0 is pushing it. Okay. That's 2 bogeys. Excuse me, the pollen is getting to my throat today. That's 2 bogeys, 2 birdies, even par, going into hole 5. So we're gonna play the short basket, 230 feet around to the right. Similar idea of a shot to hole 3, or no, hole 2. Yes, hole 3. But we need to commit a little bit more to that anhyzer, because I don't want it to stable out as much. Velocity's really good to the long basket. I mean, there is a tailwind, but I kind of wanted it to hold on to that, and I would expect a disc that's 0-0 to kind of hold on to that, but the tailwind is making it stable. We'll see what throw-in chance it has here. I'm also throwing through a spider web, so that's fun. Okay, now throw-in, park job, nice easy par. I can get the Champ tried pretty much flat. It does have a little bit of finish at the end, so we're gonna test on this hole, try to throw it as flat as possible, as spinny as possible. How long before it stables out? Not that long, actually. That's kind of a decently overstable putter. I don't know where there's just 0-0 is coming from. Left ourselves with another long putt, but it is hold straighter. Even though it has some fade, it just kind of holds the hyzer angle and then fades at the end. It didn't actually fade that hard, now that I see where it landed. Just too far. All right, another par. So even par. We got 6, 7, 8, 9. 4 holes left to do something cool. But it's initial impressions, just kind of a good putter. So I guess maybe 3 is the proper glide, because normally when you see a 0-0 putter, you're expecting kind of a floaty 0-0 where you can kind of get it to move a little bit, but this doesn't really want to move. It really is pretty straight. It's like a 0-1, maybe a 0-0 if you start to beat it up a little bit, but it's really just more rigid on the line you throw it on before it slows down. So it's not necessarily stable, it's not understable, it's very, very neutral with a minor finish. It does kind of like to ride on that soft hyzer though. It doesn't really fade from there. It just likes to get to that soft hyzer and then ride there. So if you're throwing a hyzer with a 0-0 putter and it's holding that hyzer, I can understand how you think this is a 0-0 putter, but it's really more of a 0-1 that likes to stay on the 1, so you have to kind of work with it. This is not the putt you want on this hole. This actually does feel better as one of a like rounded over shoulder putters. Once I realized that it's a little bit softer, it's a little bit gummier, so I can actually kind of dig my thumb in there. I just kind of left my forefinger off. Not worried too much about that one as long as I got the thumb in the right placement and just drilled the comebacker. So not an easy par, but I may have discovered the hack for putting with a champ. Hole 8, we're gonna play from the long pad. So 246 feet. We're gonna try and throw it as straight as I possibly can throw it. And all that weird wind that's been going on is now pretty confidently coming off of the parking lot that's over here on the right. So if it gets on that 0-1 pretty early on its flight, should have a nice little fade. And a little bit too inside, but that's probably from that wind. Once you get down there, a little bit windier coming off the parking lot, pushing it left. This could have been an amazing hole, and I messed it up. Yeah, and here's the wind that I was talking about. There's like an opening right here, so as soon as it got here, it blew it into the trees. So, soft hyzer and let the wind push it maybe. Result, and I don't think I could putt this far uphill with the crosswind. That was about the most I got with this weird wind. That's another bogey. Hopefully we can birdie out on the last hole to bring us back to even par. But it's always been kind of a thing for me. Rounded over beaded putters just don't really seem to work. Of premium plastic discs that claim that they are a 0-0, this is one of the straightest ones I've thrown. Of discs that claim that they're a 0-0, this is not. It still has some pretty good amount of fade and finish, probably coming from the bevel here and this bead along the rim. Parting line is pretty centered, so it should be about 0-0. But it is just kind of a very blunt edge, kind of slowing it down for a little bit faster and not letting it glide quite as far. We're gonna try to throw the turnover shot, and hopefully this wind turns to be more crosswind than tailwind, but it might stable the disc out. Kick me over a little further right, but not really what we want on this hole. Yeah, if you're looking for probably beat in a little quickly to be a super duper straight putter, this is a great disc. But as far as me, I think I'm a little bit past having a disc of this specific stability. And I would have to try so hard to get it to flip when I already have discs that do that for me, and I don't have to try. So hopefully you guys enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber-only giveaways. Definitely helps me out as well. We're going to finish here out at a 2 over par. And until next time, see you out on the course.